did what they had to. Coming off an embarrassing, really, domination against the Cleveland Indians at the stadium. The Yankees had to sweep against Texas, and they did. Was not pretty at all. Sometimes it was downright ugly. But they did what they had to do to at least keep things very, very much alive heading into this really brutally challenging final 9 games at Boston, at Toronto, home against Tampa. So if the Yankees are going to get it in, they will have earned it because you can't get much tougher of a schedule than this to finish it out. And the Yankees were able at least to end their easy part of their schedule with the sweep. 2 of the games were really close. I mean, especially the last one, even though the score doesn't indicate it, it was challenging. But the good thing is let's discuss the standings. I think Boston, the only way the Yankees will catch Boston is if they sweep them this weekend at Fenway, which I don't see that happening, but I guess in theory it could. So that's the only thing that keeps that alive, but it is unlikely. The team that the Yankees, I believe, are really fighting with is Toronto. And the Yankees are technically a half game out of Toronto, but they're tied on the loss side. Toronto has a 4-game series at Minnesota this weekend. That's going to be really important. The Yankees are going to need the Twins to come through. That I view that as a very important out-of-town series leading into next week's Yankees-Blue Jays series. So the key for the Yankees is just hold serve against Boston. If you lose 1 out of 3, that is not good. But it keeps the Toronto series very much in play, assuming Toronto doesn't 4-game sweep Minnesota. And if the Yankees can win 2 out of 3 versus Boston, all the better. And that's going to be the key for the Yankees. I think they're going to need to go 6-3 the rest of the way, which is going to be tough. And that'll put them at 92-70. And that should at least ensure you like a 1-game playoff with Toronto. If you can go 6-3. But again, that's going to be tough. But as it pertains to this Texas series, the Yankees, it did not win handily, but they won all 3 games, so I'm not going to complain. And they got some guys back along the way. We saw Luis Severino pitch in the second game. The first time he had pitched since the playoffs in 2019. Domingo Germán would be activated in the last game, and I thought he was actually going to come in at the end. He didn't, but he's been activated. So we're starting to see some guys come back, and I think that, Tyone and Loaizaga probably aren't too far behind them, but the season is, sort of dwindling down here. So, but in this one, Nestor Cortes got off to a good start. He ran out of gas pretty early, but he did throw a scoreless first 4 innings. But what was the key in this one? The Yankees got going early. Unfortunately, they wouldn't do anything from there. But in the second inning, Gary Sanchez homers. And Sanchez, this was a pretty good bounce-back effort from Sanchez this series after what was a really tough Cleveland series. And just in general, a bit of a malaise for Sanchez at the plate and behind the plate. But he got them going. 1-0 Yanks on the Sanchez homer. Then in the third, a bit of a rally. Rare for the Yankees, but it would happen here. With 1 out, LeMahieu walks, then a Rizzo single, and then an RBI single by Judge. He would move, the runners would advance where Tavares, the center fielder, tries to throw LeMahieu out. Not a smart move as Rizzo then goes to third, Judge goes to second, Stanton gets a sac fly. That makes it 3-0. Then a Gallo walk, and then a Gleyber Torres RBI single. That makes it 4-0. Sanchez would then walk to make it bases loaded, but Gardner struck out. So they could have really blown it open, but the Gardner K prevents that. And the Yankees' bats would shut down, and that's unacceptable. For the Yankees, they had to use their high-leverage relievers, and the bullpen came through in a major way. And that was important because in the 5th, Culberson homers off Cortes, then it's a ground rule double to Tavares, then it's an RBI double for Kiner Falefa, makes it 4-2. After a line-out by Ibanez, they take Cortes out. So Cortes would not get the win in this one as he would only go 4 1/3 innings. But then Chad Green comes in. There would be a wild pitch by Green, and That would move Connor Falefa over to third, and then a sac fly by Garcia. That would make it 4-3. But from there, Green would then get a pop out to end that inning, and then he would pitch a scoreless sixth, a 1-2-3-6. So this was a pretty good series for Chad Green. I don't know. It probably won't last that way. I'm sure he's bound to give up another big home run before the season's out, but he did come through in this series. Then in the seventh, Clay Holmes comes on, pitches a 1-2-3-7, and then he gives up a single in the eighth, but then he gets a strikeout and a ground out, and then he would be taken out of the game. So it would be an inning and 2/3 of work for Clay Holmes. He had a fantastic series. He has been so good since that trade for Pittsburgh. He is just straight filthy. And then the lefty Joely Rodriguez would come on to face Nate Lowe, or I guess now known as Nathaniel Lowe. And Lowe gets a very fortunate infield single, which was problematic considering that Rodriguez would have to face the righty Nick Solak, but Rodriguez gets the strikeout. And I think Joely Rodriguez has been good. He was in that Gallo trade. Joely has been a pretty good, fairly reliable option. He's built differently than like a Wandy Peralta. He's more of like a just kind of getting out here, getting out there kind of guy, lefty-lefty matchup pitcher, but he's been really good. And then in the ninth, Aroldis Chapman. And this was a good series for Chapman, and he's been good lately. It was a 1-2-3 inning for Chapman. He's throwing strikes. Is he throwing it hard? Is the fastball necessarily effective? No, but he's throwing that slider in there. It's getting swings and misses. So Chapman would get a couple of strikeouts, and he has been pretty good lately. And so it's good to see. So the Yankees hang on to a 4-3 win. Great job by the bullpen, and the Yankees had, some early action offensively. Game two, this would be the one game where you could kind of breathe easy. And it's interesting. Judge DH's back-to-back games, game 2 and 3. But Jordan Montgomery pitched well. Montgomery, who had pitched well at Baltimore's last outing, would pitch well on this one, earning the win, only giving up 1 run in 5 2/3. A pretty typical Montgomery outing where he's not going to go super deep into the game, but he's not going to give up that many runs. And that's what he'll typically do. And the Yanks would get going early in this one, as in the first, 1 out hit by pitch Rizzo, double Judge, and then an RBI ground out by Stanton. Makes it 1-0. But Stanton wouldn't stop there, as in the third, he just rips his 31st homer of the year, line drive, home run for Stanton. And this is off of Dane Dunning. So Dunning was the starter, and Dunning would be out after that Stanton homer. The Texas Rangers would bring in Kobe Allard. In the fourth, Montgomery would give up a run. Leadoff walk to Connor Falefa, which you never want to do. Then it's a single by Ibanez, makes it first and third. He does get Garcia to strike out, but then Solak gets an RBI ground out. That'd be the only run that Montgomery would give up, and the only run the Yankees would give up all night. Make it 2-1. And then in the fifth, single Urshela, single LeMahieu, RBI single Rizzo. So that's a good little rally there, and that makes it 3-1. And then in the sixth, Michael King would come on for Montgomery, and with a runner on second, he gets Garcia to ground out. Michael King has been really good since returning from injury and been a very key piece to the pen. Then Joey Gallo homers against his former team, his 38th home run of the year. He's been very good lately, and that's just kind of what Joey Gallo is. He's extremely streaky, and right now he's on a hot streak. And Gallo homers, makes it 4-1. Then in the seventh, it's a 1-2-3 strikeout the side inning for Michael King. When he's on, he's on. I'll give him that. The stuff doesn't appear imposing, but he's got a nice two-seam fastball. He kind of mixes and matches a little bit, and he's been very effective. Then in the bottom of the seventh, the Yankees break the game open. 1 out walk LeMahieu, hit by pitch Rizzo, and then a 3-run homer for Aaron Judge. His 36th of the season. And that makes it 7-1. That was really big, because then at that point, they could bring in Luis Severino. And Severino would pitch the 8th and the 9th, and he would do a good job. He ended up going 2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. So good to see Severino on a mound again, and I'm sure he's going to play a role in this last week and a half here. So a good little confidence boost for Severino. Good pitching. 3 home runs from the big boys in Stanton, Gallo, and Judge. The Yankees win 7-1, but here's the key. The Yankees knew they had to sweep. Had to sweep this one. If they had lost this game, I would have come on this podcast and basically ripped them a new one. I was ready to. But the Yankees dug deep. This was ugly, really ugly, but they were able to win this game. That's what they had to do, and they did it. So this would be Taylor Hearn versus Corey Kluber. Hearn a lefty. And with that, Voit would play over Rizzo. And it was a rough night for Voit, so don't expect to see Luke Voit getting a ton of playing time, fair or unfair, just the truth. And Higashioka would catch Kluber, as he has. So Higashioka, he'll catch Cole and Kluber. Kluber in this one, I felt was a bit unlucky, but it was not a great outing. Kluber, who had done well against Cleveland last outing, not so great in this one. Again, wasn't racked. The control was good, but they were just making contact. And so Texas would jump out to the lead in the second, as it would be a Garcia infield single and a steal, and then a single by Calhoun on a play that Voit could have made but didn't. It's an RBI single, makes it 1-0. And keep in mind, a lot of missed opportunities for the Yankees. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but just throughout the game, early. Bad, really bad. And then in the fourth, it would be with 2 outs, a 2-out rally, doubled by DJ Peters, then a bloop single by Brock Holt. DJ LeMahieu, who, isn't the most experienced at third base. It was ugly. The Yankee defense was ugly in this one. Like I said, Voit kind of messed up earlier, LeMahieu there, but neither of those were actually ruled as errors. But that would make it 3-0. 2-0 at that point. Top of the fifth, they make it 3-0. Leadoff double for Yanni Hernandez, and then a single for Connor Falefa. Makes it 3-0. Then Ibanez lines out to Gio, and that's it for Kluber. He's done at 4 1/3. And Wandy Peralta is an unsung hero in this game, as he was kind of able to stabilize things. Peralta, it would be Nathaniel Lowe, hits the ground ball to Luke Voit, and Voit probably should have just taken the safe out at first. He tries to get the double play, and he hits the runner in the back. Connor Falefa going to second. So he hits him in the back, and Connor Falefa goes to third. So what should have been 2 outs ends up being first and third, 1 out. But Peralta gets Garcia to pop out and Calhoun to ground out. This was big. At the time, it may not have felt that way, but it keeps it 3-0. Then, bottom of the fifth, the Yankees get going. Glaber walks, Gio singles, and it's a big 2-run double for Kyle Higashioka. The Yankees got a lot of production from the catcher spot tonight, and Higashioka was a big part of that. 2-run double. Then Gardner grounds out and gets Higgy over to third. So the Yankees are down by 1, and LeMahieu hits a fly ball to right. It was hit fairly well again. I am disappointed by DJ LeMahieu this year. We'll get into an even worse at-bat by LeMahieu later in the game, but LeMahieu flies out, and they throw Higashioka out of home. It was a great throw by Adolis Garcia. I agree with sending out Higashioka. It was a great throw. You wish LeMahieu maybe did something better, but I can't destroy him there. Then Peralta pitches a 1-2-3-6. So again, Peralta keeping it at 3-2. Good job by him. And then at the bottom of the sixth, after a Voit strikeout, like I said, he's been struggling. It would be a Judge walk, a Stanton walk, and then Hearn's out of the game. They bring in Santana, righty reliever. Gallo walks. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Glaber, while he would come through later, Torres, in that moment, a really bad, ugly at-bat where he strikes out swinging on a pitch that was not good. It was a half swing. And so now it is bases loaded, 2 out for Urshela, and the Yankees haven't had one of these in a while, but it came back. The wild pitch that scores a run, a big run, and ties it up at 3. Judge scores. But then Gio strikes out looking, and it was an ugly at-bat for Gio there. We move to the 7th, and Clay Holmes, he's just been ridiculously good. Keep in mind that Rizzo would come in for Voit in that inning, but Clay Holmes pitches a 1-2-3, and he has been the best Yankee reliever, in my opinion, with Loaizaga out. Bottom of the 7th rolls around. Kyle Higashioka singles, and they pinch run Tyler Wade for him. And I had mixed feelings on it, but I'm usually a proponent of this, and the way that things played out, it ends up being the right thing, although they end up not scoring this inning. Tyler Wade pinch runs, and he is such a weapon off the bench for this team. He's really coming into his own as a Yankee. So he would pinch run and steal second as Gardner struck out. It was a bad at-bat by Brett Gardner, really bad. And then Tyler Wade steals third while DJ LeMahieu's up. So runner on third, 1 out. LeMahieu with a chance to kind of redeem himself or just in general come through, and he doesn't. It was a really ugly at-bat for LeMahieu, who strikes out on a pitch that wasn't even close. So LeMahieu goes 0 for 5. It's just not happening for him this year. He'll have his moments where you think, all right, maybe he'll break out, and it's not happening. And then Rizzo flies out to shallow center. So they strand that runner, Wade. Then in the 8th, Sanchez would come in because Wade pinch ran for Higashioka. Chad Green comes on in relief, and I didn't love this. I was hoping that maybe Clay Holmes would go a second inning. It didn't happen, but Green would bet low to fly out. And then Eldolis Garcia reaches on an error by Gio Urshela. So Urshela, it's been better lately for him, but it's just not quite what I think we're accustomed to with Gio. Like in the field as well, he's been spotty. But luckily, Garcia tries to seal, and Gary Sanchez guns him at second. A great throw by Sanchez. One of the things that Sanchez has kept with him since his earlier days is that great arm. It's a strong arm, and when it's accurate, it's deadly, and it was there. So that stops Texas dead in its tracks. And then Calhoun lines out. So we go to the bottom of the 8th, and that's where the Yankees get it going with 2 outs. Spencer Patton comes in, and with 2 outs, Joey Gallo, against his former team, gets a big double. Kind of a lucky hit. A lot of space out in left field, and Gallo gets it over there. But then it would be Gleyber Torres, who would get a big game-winning, as it turned out, RBI double. And he needed that. Again, he had a bad at-bat the time before. It just hasn't been good for Gleyber, but this was huge. He gets an RBI double. Then the next batter, Gio Urshela, reaches on an infield single, but Yoni Hernandez bobbles it. And this allows Gleyber Torres to try to score, and he does. It was a very close play at the plate, but Gleyber makes a nice slide and scores. They reviewed it, but they upheld it. Makes it 5-3, and then the big blow, Gary Sanchez, dead center field, 2-run homer. So a good inning for Sanchez, defensively and at the plate. Makes it 7-3. And at this point, Domingo Germán was warming up, but they end up going with Chapman, which is fine. I mean, you have a day off Thursday, day off Monday, so you hope it doesn't come back to bite. I don't think it will, but Chapman pitches a 1-2-3 and he gets a couple of strikeouts. Again, been amazing. And so the Yankees would get the sweep. And the Yankees, like I said, they occupy that second wildcard spot, but it's essentially tied. They're tied on the loss side, and they have a series with each other. So let's just preview this Yankees-Red Sox series. It'll be Garrett Cole, who needs to pitch well against Nate Eovaldi. This is a matchup that I think we've seen head-on at least once before, maybe twice. But definitely once before this year, Cole versus Eovaldi. And Cole has not pitched that well at Boston this year. He has pitched well against Boston at Yankee Stadium. But this is going to be coming off a really bad outing, a very big... And I think that Cole should pitch pretty well in this one. He usually responds well after pitching poorly. But what will the Yankees' bats do? That's my question. Game 2 will then be Nestor Cortez, who, like I said, ran out of gas a little bit in the last one against Nick Pivetta. Again, another matchup that you look at on paper and say it's winnable. It's a winnable matchup. And then Game 3 is Jordan Montgomery versus Eduardo Rodriguez. And Rodriguez has given the Yanks some problems, even though, so that's kind of a dead type toss-up. But the games are in Boston. They're good at Fenway Park, the Red Sox, that is. So this is going to be tough, and we'll be keeping our eyes on that Blue Jays-Twins series. That's going to be a really important one heading into that Yankee-Blue Jays series next week. So this is it. This is where the Yankee season will be won or lost. I'm excited to watch it. Do I feel great about it? I don't. But the hope is that with this Yankee-Red Sox series that they could somehow find a way to win it. But if not, that you stay very much alive heading into the Blue Jays series next week. So this is fun. This is going to feel like playoff baseball. And we'll see how the Yankees can respond with their backs against the wall.